On the 4th of March 2026, the ground beneath Sicily began to shake. Not violently, not at first, just a low, persistent tremor that registered on instruments buried deep inside the rock. Hours later, it happened again. This time, stronger, a magnitude 4.5 earthquake, centered on the southwestern flank of Europe's largest active volcano. And then, at 12:12 Universal Time, Mount Etna answered. The Bocca Nuova summit crater, one of 4 gaping mouths at the volcano's peak, exploded without warning. A single impulsive blast that punched a column of ash and gas 1.5 kilometers straight into the sky. It was a message, a geological statement of intent written in pulverized rock and sulfur. An ancient power reminding the modern world that it operates on a timeline of its own. A timeline that seems to be accelerating. This was not a random event. It was the latest in a series of escalations that has volcanologists at Italy's National Institute of Geophysics and Volcanology, the INGV, working around the clock. They are watching a mountain that is not just erupting, but fundamentally changing its behavior. What would you do if you lived at the foot of this volcano? Let me know in the comments below. An enormous number of people find these stories fascinating, but a huge portion of you forget to subscribe. If you believe understanding the forces that are actively reshaping our planet is important, then you need to hit that subscribe button right now. It is genuinely the only way to guarantee you won't miss what happens next. It's an emergency alert for our planet. Subscribe now so you stay informed. Let's begin. This mountain is waking up in a new, more dangerous way. The March 2026 explosion was just a punctuation mark at the end of a terrifying chapter that began the year before. On June 2nd, 2025, a violent eruption from the southeast crater did something that sends a chill down the spine of every scientist who studies Etna. It triggered a pyroclastic flow. This is not lava. It is not something you can outrun. It is a superheated avalanche of gas, ash, and rock fragments, boiling at hundreds of degrees Celsius, moving at highway speeds. A turbulent, ground-hugging cloud of incandescent death. This one surged down into the Valle del Bove, a massive caldera that normally acts as a natural catch basin. Tourists who were on the high-altitude slopes that morning did not walk away. They ran. Video from that day shows a terrifying gray monster consuming the landscape, a stark visualization of the volcano's deadliest capability. It was a close call. A warning shot. The mountain was not finished. On Christmas Eve of 2025, as a gesture of profound geological indifference to the human world, another eruption began. This time, lava poured from the southeast crater not just into the valley, but down the flank of the mountain itself. Not just a little. It flowed continuously, a river of molten rock descending to an altitude of just 1,360 meters above sea level. This was dangerously low. Low enough to trigger alarm bells not in the scientific observatories, but in the offices of the Civil Protection Department. The people who manage evacuations. The people who decide when a threat has become existential. Then, on New Year's Day 2026, just 1 week later, the volcano opened a new wound. A fresh eruptive fissure tore open inside the Valle del Bove, at the foot of an ancient, extinct crater named Mit Simone. It was at an even lower altitude, around 2,000 meters. Fresh rivers of incandescent lava began pouring out, flooding the valley floor. It was a relentless series of events. A pyroclastic surge. A dangerously low-altitude lava flow. A brand new fissure opening, where one hadn't been seen in modern memory. A pattern was emerging. A pattern of escalation. A pattern of unpredictability. It's a sequence of events that has experts and local authorities genuinely concerned. The question becomes, are the current safety measures enough? Or is this a regional disaster that's simply waiting for its moment? I'm curious what you think. Join the discussion in the comments. The mountain was no longer just putting on a spectacular show for tourists and scientists. It was actively threatening the inhabited zones. The result was a set of new rules for 2020.